database has star maps of all the known galaxy.
I don't recognize a single system.
The space family Robinson has trouble on an interplanetary mission, and as a result, they're lost in space. An adaptation of the hit 60s TV show, one of 5 new movies, including an Oscar winner and a documentary about rock stars Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love, that we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. Our first film is Lost in Space, and I never saw the TV series, so if this movie contains any campy references to it or in-jokes, I didn't get them. As for the rest of the film, it bored me, say for part of the conclusion involving a father and son speaking across generations. The premise is simple enough. The Robinson family is launched into space as an experiment to colonize a newly discovered planet that can be inhabited safely by Earthlings. But the mission goes haywire due to a saboteur played by Gary Oldman, who messes with the onboard computer that is supposed to take care of the Robinsons.
Sadly, I fear I have far more dire deeds in store for you.
Robot is online, reviewing primary directives. 16 hours into mission, destroy Robinson family. Destroy all systems.
To save the day, the littlest Robinson, young Will, rises to the occasion.
Robot! Disable pulse blaster!
Command accepted.
Cancel attack sequence and stand by! The family won't come to the science fair. Bring science fair to the family.
Also trying to help on board is the ship's pilot, played by Matt LeBlanc from TV's Friends, who doesn't always agree with Professor Robinson, who's played by William Hurt. Really good actors reciting stiff dialogue.
I'm going to do whatever I think it takes to ensure the success of this mission, with or without your help. Is that clear, Professor?
Am I interrupting something? Now, if you finished hosing down the decks with testosterone, I suggest you come with me. I may have found a way to get us off this planet.
Well,
Tell me about it.
And that was Mimi Rogers as Mrs. Robinson. Basically, I didn't enjoy meeting this Robinson family, and I didn't really care what happened to them. And the special effects weren't all that special. Lost in Space is standard outer space soap opera, a mixed but negative review for me. I simply can't recommend it.
My review is not even mixed. It's way, way down with my thumb, because I thought this
I wonder
movie,
when I said the word mixed, what did I like?
You liked the speech at the end of the father and the son,
thank you
but
for reminding me.
I thought that was cornball. And I'm telling you, among everything else that you've already touched on in this movie, why did they shoot it in such murky colors? It all looks
dark,
muddy and dark and unattractive. No bright colors. At least it might be more fun to look at if the cinematography had been a little livelier. But the whole thing just seems kind of like it's in a murk somehow.
My recollection of the TV show, just in flipping through the dial, is that they would be in another planet. You know, I guess they went from planet to planet, all right, testing them out. And it would be interesting if this movie followed something like that format, where they're in the planet and... All right, how do you deal with a slightly different planet?
It's like the original Swiss Family Robinson, where they land somewhere and they try to use whatever they can find and whatever they can make in order to get the conditions of life. Instead, this is just all space battles and lots of explosions and really dumb stuff.
And located basically roughly in one set, the ship. I mean,
that's right.
Did they cheap it out? Oh, boy.
I think they did. Okay, next movie. Our next movie is a twisting, devious labyrinth of a movie by David Mamet, named The Spanish Prisoner. He wrote it and directed it. The movie is not, however, about Spain or about prisoners, but about a classic con game called The Spanish Prisoner. Even knowing how that game works is small protection for the movie's hero, played by Campbell Scott, who has invented a new process that can make millions for the company he works for, and now he fears the company is not going to pay him what he deserves.
So, this thing goes, there's going to be more than enough to go around. Are you kidding? You did good in there. I'm not going to forget it. Neither are they.
Thank you, but my exact question is...
How much? Well, I'm in the same position as you. Eh? They keep me in the dark, too.
Their meeting is being held on a Caribbean island where Scott meets a wealthy New Yorker, played by Steve Martin.
Chris, I left the log on the pilot seat. Did you get that for me?
You're a real gent. See ya.
Robo-market?
I'll give you $1,000 for that camera.
Back in New York, Scott gets a visit from a co-worker at the company who was also along on the trip.
Ever get the urge to do something adventurous? In spite of the ancient wisdom against inter-office romances?
He also meets up again with the Steve Martin character, who seems to have taken a liking to him.
You now have a Swiss bank account, anybody asks. Crédit National du Genève, code word Patty.
You just opened me a Swiss bank account.
Yes.
Why?
Lavish, awkward gesture. All of 15 Swiss francs in it, but if you ever want to impress anybody, they can find out you have a Swiss account. But Swiss law prohibits the bank from revealing the balance. Thus, are all men made equal?
One of the delights of The Spanish Prisoner is in the dialogue. How even in a big showdown at the end, Mamet prefers wit and intrigue to simple-minded action. We talked about the action in Lost in Space, how dumb it was. I loved it when a U.S. Marshal in this movie fires a crucial shot, and when she's asked what would have happened if she had missed, she said, well, then I guess it'd be back to the range for me.
I think it's a wonderful film and a candidate possibly for one of the year's best.
Yeah.
Mamet is smart, he writes smart, and this is so complicated. And we have seen so many pictures. It seems like all the young directors want to make these, you know, convoluted, they think film noir stories of intrigue and sex and murder and all this. But here is something that's complicated but makes sense. And you're challenged with, and you're given enough information to carry you along. And what a cast! I mean, well, he attracts great casts. Who wouldn't want to be a part of one of his films? This is just first-rate filmmaking.
He, of course, is also a noted playwright. And what I love about his dialogue is its precision.
Sure.
The way that people use words so exactly. And so you're listening because you know they're choosing those words because they're saying more than they seem to be saying.
And they repeat themselves, just like people do in real life. Every time I find myself repeating myself, I think two things. I'm getting older, and I'm sounding like I'm in a Mamet play.
Just stick to the second one. It'll keep your spirits up.
Okay. Coming up later, a controversial documentary on rockers Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. But first, Bruce Willis stars in a national security thriller called Mercury Rising.
You're telling me a 9-year-old kid cracked the government supercode?
Why are you doing this, Art? That kid isn't your responsibility. Whose responsibility is he?
Bruce Willis plays an FBI agent investigating an autistic 9-year-old boy who can crack the most complex national security codes in Mercury Rising, a film that I suppose I can jokingly describe as a prequel to Good Will Hunting, because this boy is a closet genius who needs to be saved. Willis becomes his protector. Is well played by Miko Hughes, and he stuns national security agents who place the codes in a puzzle magazine, not expecting anyone to solve it.
You've won a 2-year subscription to the magazine of your choice. Can I please have your name, address, and telephone number?
You are a stranger.
That's him. Dean. Dean, he's calling from his own house. You have to go Cujo right now. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Is that you, Simon? Simon? Is that you? Simon?
Who is this?
Answer me. Who is this? Hello?
That the agents would treat the code so cavalierly as to put it in a puzzle magazine enrages their boss, played by Alec Baldwin.
Then maybe we should talk to the kid. And, No. There must be nothing that connects the boy to this office. Nothing.
Now, my reaction to a whole plot built on this premise is, who cares? Just keep the code from the kid, or change it a little bit, no problem. Mercury Rising also tries to be like an earnest Disease of the Week TV movie about autism, but I didn't learn anything about autism from it. As a result, Mercury Rising is a hodgepodge. A little espionage, a little computer action, Bruce Willis dodging trains in the middle of an expressway in Chicago, and men with guns. Much ado about nothing. Thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down for me, too. And, of course, if a 9-year-old autistic kid can crack your code, don't shoot the kid, shoot your programmers. But, you know, it's not like Good Will Hunting. And also, you can compare Good Will Hunting to Rain Man. I mean, autism is not the same as being a genius. You know, this kid basically just looked at the page and it went click, 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 and he knew what it was. But he doesn't understand it.
I understand.
And the other thing I didn't like about this movie was he finds a woman, well played, actually, by Kim Dickens. But, of course, like any woman in a movie like this... She was in zero effect,
and she's a good actress.
She immediately goes along with him. I mean, what woman sitting in a Starbucks in downtown Chicago wouldn't believe a guy in a sweaty T-shirt with a gun in his belt with an autistic kid under his arm and follow him for the next 2 days and do everything he asked her to do just on trust? I mean, that's human nature, isn't it?
Yeah, this film does not make much sense.
No.
And I don't know what attracted Bruce Willis to it, actually?
Well, it's a big budget thriller. It has a lot of special effects.
But you know
he gets a lot of big set pieces.
You know he gets offered tons of pictures like that.
Yeah.
In other words, it has to have some value added beyond that. When we come back, the new documentary, Kurt and Courtney, and no wonder Courtney Love doesn't like this film.
He was a pretty loud little guy. See, he was the center of attention.
An aunt of the punk rock star Kurt Cobain remembers him as a little boy there in Kurt and Courtney, a new documentary that paints Cobain's wife, Courtney Love, as basically a monster. Love refused permission to have Cobain's songs used in the movie, and no wonder. This is a film that goes right to the edge of accusing her of his murder before ending by suggesting she's merely a hypocrite and control freak who made him intensely unhappy. The film is by Nick Broomfield, the BBC documentarian, who also made the riveting documentary Heidi Fleiss, Hollywood Madam. He begins here with media reports of Cobain's 1994 suicide.
I noticed something on the floor. I thought it was a mannequin.
An electrician arrived at Kurt Cobain's luxurious home early in the morning to install security lighting. What he discovered in this apartment above the home's garage was horrible.
Here's Cobain in happier days expressing love for Courtney and their new baby daughter. He was a millionaire at this time as lead singer of the Seattle grunge rock group Nirvana.
I mean, 4 years ago I would have said the classic thing, like, you know, how dare someone bring a child into this life, you know, it's completely a terrible way to go, and, you know, the world's going to explode any day and stuff like that, but once you fall in love, it's a bit different.
The movie does a remarkable job of finding and talking to many of the central figures in the lives of both Kurt and Courtney, including one of her early lovers, former musician Roz Rezabek.
She came out and just a drink in my face and started screeching out, "Who do you think you are, David Bowie, with all your mock rock star poses and those atrocious green checkered pants? If you ever want to make it, you better lose the green checkered pants and cut out the Rod Stewart and poses and blah, 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 blah." And started giving me this, like, scathing review, and I'm like, who are you? But she did the whole thing in an English accent. And she had this dyed black hair, everything dyed black. She was just back from England, where she was groupie all the bands of that time.
Well, he sure doesn't like her much these days, but then nobody in this film likes Courtney Love, including her own father, who thinks it's not impossible that she killed Cobain. Broomfield finds several others who harbor similar thoughts, and even gets a man to say on camera that Love offered him $50,000 to kill the rock legend. But the conspiracy theories seem to evaporate into a general paranoia and gossip about the world where most of its members clearly were and perhaps still are in a haze of drugs. After seeing the film, I don't think Courtney killed Kurt in the literal sense, but I agree with most of the people on screen that he was too weak, confused, neurotic, and drug addicted to survive for long in such a relationship.
Yeah, I don't think that the film proves anything either, Roger, and that's why I fault it and can't really recommend it. I think if you're going to raise these issues, then just stick with them and, you know, pursue it as a journalist really would. And I feel that the film, you know, spins off into, you know, the meeting with her at the ACLU, in which she really is never really...
That is a fabulous scene. She is picked by the ACLU to give an award, and the director of this film goes on stage to point out that she has made death threats on the answering machines of journalists, which makes her a very bad candidate to give an ACLU. I love that scene. But what I also love is he looks into the possibility that there might have been a murder, convinces himself that there wasn't, and then gives us, I think, the big picture. It's a very valuable piece of reporting about the whole dynamic of Kurt and Courtney.
Well, in other words, you're recommending it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, no, I don't feel that the film was hard enough, frankly. In this sense, hard enough on the issue of the murder. I think that there are leads there that should have been pursued a lot tougher. In other words, get the guy with the bribe next to Courtney Love at some point. You know, that would have been a way of handling it. Well, the guy with the bribe,
of course, dies a week later. Found dead on the train tracks.
Okay, well.
Very interesting.
Okay. Coming up next, the winner of the Oscar for this year's Best Foreign Language Film, Character from the Netherlands. Reviewing it because it just won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film. Made in the Netherlands and set there in the 1920s, Character is a heavy melodrama about a young man whose whole life as a child and then as an adult is made miserable by his father, a profoundly unhappy man who fathers the boy but tries to deny his parentage. The young man is attracted to a co-worker, but neither is confident enough to admit feelings of mutual admiration.
Daar zit u.
U mag wel even binnenlopen. Ik heb vanaf morgen vakantie. Tot eind juli blijf ik weg.
Dat zult u wel prettig vinden.
Ik weet het niet. Het vooruitzicht om de hele dag thuis te zitten. Ik werk hier graag. Ik ben hier graag.
Ja, ik ook.
Character did not impress me and didn't have the qualities I associate with an Oscar-winning foreign language film. I saw nothing groundbreaking or even all that special in the style of the filmmaking here. This is a movie about an abusive relationship, and that's pretty much what it's all about. A marginal thumbs down for me.
Oh, Gene, I liked it a whole lot.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was really like, it was Dickensian. It was like Charles Dickens in terms of this world of warehouses and accounting, and this young man who comes into this world and knows that this man is his father, but can never get respect from him and goes into the law firm. He goes all the way through life with this burden of low self-esteem and resentment that he's trying to deal with, and it's so beautifully acted and photographed.
Dickens, the greatness of him was that he wrote, you know, in a story like this, he'd have 8 to 10 characters that were memorable. I don't feel there's anywhere near that.
Well, I mean, you don't just take a census to get the feeling of Dickens. I mean, you
no,
get
what I'm saying is
the tone of the film. You have the character of the father, you have the mother, you have the woman, you have the friend with the undershot jaw. That guy is really an interesting character. You have the people who work in the law firm. You have a lot of people. This whole world is evoked here.
Well, I only say that maybe the father and the son were, you know, the least bit interesting.
Okay, well, when we come back, my video pick of the week, a tribute by Martin Scorsese to his favorite movie.
The final duel in the sun, where Jennifer Jones shoots Gregory Peck, was too intense for this voice.
People sometimes ask me how they can become more familiar with the great films of the past. My video pick this week would be a good place to start. It's an extraordinary documentary, nearly 4 hours long, by Martin Scorsese, probably our best American director, titled A Personal Journey with Martin Scorsese Through American Movies. And as the title suggests, it's a guided tour by Scorsese through his favorite films, his favorite directors, his favorite scenes, genres, and techniques. Here he is talking about Elia Kazan's 1963 film, America, America.
The story of so many immigrants who came to this country from a very, very foreign land.
Come on now, yes, you move it along. Let's go.
And I kind of identified with it and was very moved by it.
Actually, I later saw myself making this same journey, but not from Anatolia, rather from my own neighborhood in New York, which was in a sense a very foreign land. I made that journey from that land to movie making.
And notice how even the titles of Duel in the Sun thrilled him as a young moviegoer.
From the opening titles alone, I was mesmerized. Bright blasts of deliriously vibrant color, the gunshots, the savage intensity of the music, the burning sun, the overt sexuality.
You watch this documentary and you want to race out and see 100 films. It's called A Personal Journey with Martin Scorsese Through American Movies. It's available right now on Laserdisc, and it'll be coming out on tape in a couple of weeks. It's my video pick of the week. Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this show. 2 thumbs down for the murky, meandering Lost in Space. 2 big thumbs up for David Mamet's The Spanish Prisoner with its quick wit and devious plotting. 2 thumbs down, though, for Mercury Rising, where good performances can't redeem a completely unconvincing script. A split decision on Courtney. Gene thought it should have done more investigative reporting. And a split vote on Character, this year's Oscar-winning foreign film. I found the story of a lifelong struggle between a father and his son intriguing. Gene thought it was just a struggle.
You got it. Remember, you can hear our reviews on the web at Siskel-Ebert.com. Next week, we'll be back with reviews of more new movies, including My Giant, starring Billy Crystal as a Hollywood talent agent who finds an unlikely star in Romania. And also, City of Angels, starring Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan as lovers divided by heaven. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.